February 6, 2026, 2:47 local time, the Strait of Hormuz. The USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, is running dark. Minimal radar emissions, reduced communications. Standard protocol for high-threat transit through one of the most contested waterways on Earth. 21 nautical miles to the north, the Iranian coastline glows faint orange under a moonless sky. At 2:47 and 31 seconds, the ship's AN/SPY-1D radar registers a spike. A single contact, bearing 347, inbound. Speed, Mach 2.1. Altitude, 15 meters above sea level, skimming the waves. Time to impact, 38 seconds. Welcome to War Signal, USA. I'm your host, and today we're reconstructing one of the most dangerous naval engagements of the decade, a direct missile strike on an American warship, and the retaliation that followed just 14 minutes later. This is not a drill. This is not a simulation. According to declassified after-action reports, this is what happened. Let's start with context. By early 2026, tensions between the United States and Iran had reached levels not seen since the 1980s tanker war. 3 months earlier, Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval forces seized a Greek-flagged oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman, claiming it was carrying contraband cargo destined for Israel. The U.S. responded by increasing naval presence in the region. 2 carrier strike groups, 12 destroyers. A continuous rotation of P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft flying out of Bahrain. Iran called it encirclement. Washington called it freedom of navigation. Both sides. The USS Gravely had been operating in the region for 6 weeks. Her mission: escort commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, the 21-mile-wide choke point through which 20% of the world's oil flows daily. On the night of March 14th, the Gravely was returning from escort duty. She had handed off a Liberian-flagged tanker to Omani waters and was transiting back toward the carrier group positioned 140 nautical miles to the southeast. The crew was at Condition 3, wartime steaming. 1/3 of the crew at battle stations, the rest on rotating rest cycles. At 2:44, 3 minutes before the strike, the ship's electronic warfare suite detected unusual radar activity from the Iranian coast, bearing 352. Range, approximately 19 nautical miles. The signature matched a known Ghadir-class coastal defense radar. Standard equipment for Iran's shore-based anti-ship missile batteries. The officer of the deck noted the contact in the log. No immediate action was taken. Here's why. Iranian coastal radars had been painting American warships for weeks. It was part of the game. Track, lock, release. A show of capability without commitment. Intelligence analysts had classified these events as routine provocation. The Gravely's crew had experienced 7 similar incidents in the past month alone. This time was different. At 2:46:12, the radar lock intensified. Frequency shifted. Pulse repetition changed from search mode to fire control. The electronic warfare operator recognized the signature. Noor anti-ship missile system. Iranian variant of the Chinese C-802. Range, 120 kilometers. Warhead, 165 kilograms of high explosive. He had 75 seconds to report. He took 11. At 2:47:23, the operator alerted the Combat Information Center. 8 seconds later, the AN/SPY-1D radar confirmed the inbound contact. 1 missile, bearing 347, speed Mach 2.1, sea skimming profile. The captain was not on the bridge. He was in his cabin, 4 decks below, standard night watch protocol. The tactical action officer had authority to engage. But the rules of engagement required visual or radar confirmation of hostile intent before defensive action. The missile was 38 seconds out. Confirmation took 12. At 2:47:43, the TAO ordered defensive measures. The ship's Phalanx, CIWS, close-in weapon system, began tracking, chaff launchers armed. The Phalanx is designed for exactly this scenario. A 20mm Gatling gun capable of firing 4,500 rounds per minute. Radar-guided, fully autonomous in final defense mode. But the Noor missile was flying at 15 meters. The lowest engagement envelope for the Phalanx in calm seas is 12 meters. The system had a window of approximately 4 seconds to engage. It fired at 2:47:51. 93 rounds left the barrel before the missile crossed the engagement threshold. 12 rounds struck the missile body. They were not enough. The Noor's 165-kilogram warhead detonated 2.3 meters from the ship's hull. The proximity fuse triggered 0.4 seconds early. likely due to the radar interference from the phalanx rounds themselves. The explosion tore a 4-meter hole in the Gravely's starboard side, just above the waterline. Compartments 342 and 344 flooded within 90 seconds. The ship listed 7 degrees to starboard. 11 sailors were in those compartments. 8 made it out. 3 did not. The ship's damage control teams responded within 2 minutes. Watertight doors sealed. Counter-flooding began. The list stabilized at 9 degrees. The Gravely was wounded, but she was not dead. Now the question was, what happens next? According to after-action reports, the captain reached the Combat Information Center at 2:49:07, less than 2 minutes after impact. He was met with chaos. Damage reports flooding in. Casualty status unknown. Communications partially degraded. The strike had severed a primary antenna cable, but the ship's offensive systems were intact. All 96 vertical launch cells operational. Tomahawk cruise missiles. SM-2 surface-to-air missiles. The Gravely could still fight. The captain faced a decision that military commanders dread: retaliate immediately or wait for orders from 5th Fleet Command. Standard doctrine was clear: report the incident, await authorization, then respond in coordination with theater assets. But the captain also had authority under the unit's self-defense doctrine. If the ship was under continued threat, he could engage without waiting for higher approval. The question was the threat ongoing? At 2:50:14, the ship's radar detected a second contact. Same bearing, same profile. Another missile, inbound. This time, the response was faster. The phalanx engaged at maximum range. SM-2 missiles launched to intercept. Chaff clouds deployed in overlapping patterns. The second Noor missile was destroyed 1,400 meters from the ship. Debris scattered across the water. No impact. But the attack had confirmed hostile intent. Iran wasn't testing. Iran was shooting. At 2:51:38, the captain gave the order. Weapons free on the launch site, Tomahawks authorized. The coordinates were already in the system. The Ghadir radar had been tracked for weeks. The missile battery's location was known to within 15 meters. At 2:53:02, the first Tomahawk Block 4 cruise missile left the forward vertical launch system. 2 seconds later, a second followed, then a third. 3 missiles, 3 different flight paths, converging on a single target 19 nautical miles away. Flight time, approximately 6 minutes. The captain ordered the ship to increase speed, 28 knots, southeast, toward the carrier group. Every nautical mile between the Gravely and the Iranian coast reduced the risk of follow-up strikes. At 2:59:41, exactly 14 minutes after the first Iranian missile struck, the Tomahawks reached their target. Satellite imagery obtained 47 minutes later showed the results. The Noor missile battery was destroyed, 2 launchers obliterated. The Ghadir radar, a twisted mass of metal. Secondary explosions indicated ammunition storage had been hit. Iranian casualties were later estimated at 23 killed. Revolutionary Guard coastal defense personnel. The strike was precise, the retaliation was proportional, and it was fast. But the story doesn't end there. What the captain didn't know, what no one on the Gravely knew at that moment, was that the missile strike was not sanctioned by Tehran. According to intelligence assessments compiled in the weeks that followed, the launch was ordered by a local Revolutionary Guard commander, acting without authorization from the Central Command. A rogue action in response to what he perceived as American aggression during an incident 3 days earlier, when U.S. Navy helicopters had intercepted an Iranian speedboat approaching a commercial tanker. The Iranian government faced a choice: claim responsibility and risk full-scale war, or disavow the commander and de-escalate. They chose the second option. Within 72 hours, Iranian state media announced that a rogue element had been dealt with. The commander was reportedly arrested, court-martialed, executed, according to some unconfirmed reports. The United States accepted the explanation, publicly at least, but the Gravely's 3 dead sailors didn't come back. Petty Officer 2nd Class Michael Torres, 24 years old, damage controlman. Seaman Apprentice David Chen, 19 years old, on his first deployment. Petty Officer 3rd Class Sarah Mitchell, 27 years old, engineering technician. Their name, the incident changed everything and nothing. Tensions remained high. Naval patrols continued. The game of radar locks and close approaches resumed within a month. But both sides had seen how fast things could escalate. A single missile, a 14-minute response, 26 dead in total. The Strait of Hormuz remained open. The oil kept flowing, and the world moved on. But for the 280 sailors aboard the USS Gravely that night, nothing would ever be the same. The ship underwent 6 months of repairs at Bahrain's Mina Salman port. She returned to active duty in September 2026. New hull plating, upgraded point defense systems, enhanced electronic warfare suite. The same ship, different scars. The captain received the Navy Cross for his actions that night. The damage control teams received unit commendations. The 3 sailors who didn't make it out received posthumous bronze stars. Valor in combat. That's what the citation said. But valor doesn't bring back the dead. What left first? Speed kills. Not just the speed of missiles, the speed of decisions. The Iranian Noor traveled 19 nautical miles in under 40 seconds. The captain had less than 4 minutes between the first impact and launching the counterstrike. In modern naval warfare, hesitation is fatal. Second, rules of engagement matter. The 12-second delay in confirming hostile intent may have cost lives, or it may have prevented a catastrophic misidentification. The fog of war doesn't clear just because technology improves. Third, escalation can come from anywhere. A local commander's decision nearly triggered a regional war. The chain of command is only as strong as its weakest link. And finally, geography is destiny. The Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles wide. That's 10 minutes of flight time for a cruise missile, 40 seconds for an anti-ship missile. In those waters, there is no margin for error. The USS Gravely survived. Her crew proved that American warships can take a hit and keep fighting. But the incident also proved that in the confined waters of the Persian Gulf, even the most advanced navy in the world is vulnerable. 1 missile, 3 sailors, 14 minutes. That's the math of modern warfare. If this story gave you a new perspective on naval combat, hit that subscribe button. We break down the tactics, the technology, and the truth behind modern military operations. Stay vigilant, stay informed. I'll see you in the next one.